Namaste, everybody, and welcome to today's program, 10 Minutes, with me, Dr. Marc Halpern, and I'm happy to share some time and some space with all of you. Today I'll be talking about Pitta dosha and the three Gunas. You know, when we talk about the Gunas, we're talking about the mind. We're talking even about a little bit more than the mind, because we're talking about the interface between mind and consciousness. And depending upon the predominant guna within a person's mind, it'll determine how their dosha will manifest in their personality. And because of the mind-body connection, our personality has a lot to do with our health. So today what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at Pitta dosha and its personality and how its personality changes according to the development of the mind. Now, each of us has a dominant guna within our mind, which is called either Sattva, Rajas, or Tammas. And in previous talks, I've defined these, and I've explained that Sattva is clarity and purity within the mind. When a person has a sattvic mind, their highest qualities manifest. There's also Rajas, and Rajas is the quality of distraction and turbulence. And when a person has a more Rajasic mind, then they're more engaged in the dramas of the world, and as a result of that, their more challenging personality nature comes out. When a person has a more tamasic mind, this creates ignorance, this creates darkness within the mind, and there is a lack of awareness. And with that also comes some of our darker nature. So each of us has a spectrum that we might express from our darkest nature all the way up to our clear, pure nature. And this is true no matter what your constitution is. So if you're a person of Pitta nature, you have a personality that tends oftentimes to be more focused, to be more goal-oriented, maybe a little more driven, maybe a little bit more intense, passionate, and directed in your life. You know what you want, and you go out and you pursue what you want. Now, while that's true of almost everybody that has a predominantly Pitta nature, how it expresses itself is different depending upon the nature of consciousness and how that is reflected in the mind of the individual. So for instance, when a person has a more sattvic mind, well, then their highest qualities emerge. And what this means is that the light of Pitta, the fire, Pitta has a fiery nature, and fire gives off light. And that light illuminates and allows people of Pitta nature to see the world around them very clearly. So when a person of Pitta nature has a sattvic nature, we could say a sattvic Pitta, then that person sees the world very clearly. And it allows them to have a more visionary nature. They are great leaders and teachers, leading people toward higher truth. Now, when somebody has a more Rajasic nature, this is the more turbulent mind. Well, now what happens is what they see becomes distorted. And because of their passion, they get attached to distorted aspects of truth. And this can cause passion to go awry and turn into anger and into jealousy and extreme intensity. And this isn't healthy for the person who's experiencing it, and it's also not healthy for the people who are around them, because nobody wants to be around an angry, vindictive individual. But anger and vindictiveness are traits of Pitta, but only when a person of Pitta nature has a Rajasic nature within their mind and in their consciousness. Now, there's also the Tamasic expression of Pitta. And when a person of Pitta nature has a more Tamasic expression, well, this is going to turn their passion into a dark place. And what happens is that intensity and the anger start turning into the capacity to harm others. It turns into violence. And so this individual can cause harm to others and is capable of doing terribly destructive things. So on the one hand, we see a person of Pitta nature who is tamasic, who is capable of causing great harm. On the other hand, we see a sattvic Pitta individual who is a visionary, who is capable of seeing the higher truth and leading and guiding others toward that truth. In fact, people of Pitta nature make excellent leaders, but you can have a Tammasic Pitta leader who leads people into terrible harm, or a Sattvic Pitta leader who leads people toward clarity and harmony and inner peace and joy and love. And both of them are Pitta. And you have everything in between on this spectrum. So not everybody with a Pitta nature has a similar personality. It very much depends upon the development of their consciousness. And their consciousness is best described in terms of the three gunas, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Now, while you are born with the predominance of one of these gunas within your nature, you can cultivate your consciousness, and you can grow, and you can evolve, and you can move from tamas, ignorance, into awareness, which is rajas, and ultimately into transcendence, which is sattva. But it takes great effort, and it takes practice. It takes what we would call in yoga sadhana. The word sadhana means the direct path. It means the path to harmony, the path to passion or truth, and it means the path to enlightenment. And so those actions that we take for the pursuit of our consciousness is our sadhana. So the types of sadhana that help an individual of Pitta nature to move toward a sattvic expression of themselves is first and foremost to live in balance with your constitution, to know that you have a Pitta nature, and then to learn all the things that are necessary through diet and lifestyle in order to keep your Pitta in balance. That's very important. You know, in Ayurveda, we say that disease is caused by Vata, Pitta, Kapha, but also Rajas and Tammas. So we must control Rajas and Tammas. And so when we live harmoniously through diet and lifestyle, we will innately, naturally control Rajas and Tammas. So there's a great spectrum for how Pitta can manifest itself. And the mind is connected to the body. If the mind is turbulent or the mind is dark, the body's physiology will be disturbed, and disease will be the end result. So when we get angry, we're actually hurting ourselves. When we harm others, we're hurting ourselves. But when we are expressing ourselves through our sattvic nature, then a person of Pitta nature has compassion and calm and clarity and vision. And they make excellent teachers and leaders and guides for others. And in that state of inner calm and inner peace, the physiology of the body is balanced. And balanced physiology not only prevents disease, it also helps to heal disease. So if you're suffering from any disease, do the inner work to transcend your rajas, your inner turmoil. Do the inner work to transcend your tamas, your inner darkness, and move toward the light. Move toward the calmness of sattva. Many blessings to you on your continued journey toward optimum health and peace of mind. Namaste.